What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez. I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. Matt, how are you doing today?
We'll see coming up. Let's get into it.
All right, guys. Today, we're going to be talking about some recent comments made by Chris Sims and Mike Florio comparing Kyle Shanahan to Bill Belichick, saying he could possibly be the next Bill Belichick. Matt, let me read this quote here for you, and I want to get your reaction on it. By all indications, and with apologies to other young coaches, Shanahan has a very good chance to be the next Belichick. And if the Patriots had blown a 10-point lead at the end of Super Bowl 54, Belichick wouldn't be thinking about, or letting anyone in the organization talk about or think getting back to that point. That was said by Mike Florio, Matt, on his recent piece on Kyle Shanahan. Let me get your thoughts on that.
I don't like this comparison. Oh, he's the next Belichick. What does that even mean? Are we talking about style of coaching? Because they're two different people. Belichick is a guy who will berate you and not think twice about it. He'll awkwardly walk through the facility and not say a word to you. You know, Kyle might yell at his players every now and again, but he's also going to come to you and give you the attaboys and let you know, hey, I'm on your side. You know, the stories about Belichick yelling at Tom Brady and breaking him down in front of the team during film sessions are legendary. And that's not something that I can see Kyle Shanahan doing. As far as success goes, as far as coaching success goes, it's way too early to be judging Kyle Shanahan against, you know, a guy who's been to 9 Super Bowls, has won 6, but has done all that with Tom Brady. You want to look at Belichick before he got to New England, before Tom Brady. What did he do? A fat lot of nothing. So this season is going to be actually an indictment on Bill Belichick to see what kind of coaching job that he can do without Tom Brady. Because if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers end up making a run and the Patriots finish 3rd in their division, it's going to start to look like most of the Patriots' success was Tom Brady. So, to say he's the next Bill Belichick, I don't even know what that means. And I think it's just a nebulous kind of, thing to throw out there when you're bored and you don't have anything else to talk about and things of that nature, So that's what I think of that quote.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. For me, I kind of looked at this and I was looking into some similarities between the two. Obviously, we know Bill Belichick kind of started as a positions coach, worked his way up to a head coach. Also, I learned that his father was pretty involved in his infatuation with football from an early age. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan, same situation. But like you said, he's heavily tied to Tom Brady. Take away Tom Brady. He did have some success there, sure. Matt Castle, a couple games with Jimmy and Jacoby Brissett. However, that's not long-term success. That's not repeated seasons of playoffs and Super Bowl success. That's getting by for a couple of games and kind of masking their deficiencies at the time. So it's really, I don't even know how to approach this because, like you said, Kyle Shanahan's the next Kyle Shanahan. He's the current Kyle Shanahan. He's not the next to anybody else. And to hold him up to that high of a standard with in his first couple of years as a head coach, it's unfair to him because that's like saying, hey, maybe this little actor in this show could be the next Robert De Niro or something. It's like, whoa, pump the brakes here. We're talking about one of the greatest coaches ever and a guy who has some potential. Don't get me wrong. Kyle Shanahan's one of the brightest, most innovative minds in football today. However, you're holding him up to the highest standard and saying if he falls anywhere short of this, he's a failure essentially. So, although I do think there are some similarities, at least on their come up in early on in their careers, that's where you got to end it. You can't continue to compare the two right now, especially because two totally different eras that they're coaching in. Although Bill Belichick is still coaching, when he started off coaching, when him and Tom Brady started having success, football looked a lot different than it does right now. So it's just hard to tell. But, Matt, let me ask you this. What would Kyle Shanahan need to do in order to be the Bill Belichick of this era, if that makes sense?
I mean, of course you're going to have to win games. But again, it goes back to what do you mean by the next Bill Belichick or the Bill Belichick of this era? Bill Belichick, the year before Tom Brady got there, went 5-11 with Drew Bledsoe. And Drew Bledsoe was no slouch. Before that, he had a cup of coffee. I think he had a hiring conference with the Jets and didn't do anything there. But he got fired from Cleveland. We're going to see what he does. But, these comparisons to Shanahan, I mean, Belichick's a defensive guy. Shanahan's an offensive guy. Shanahan's dad won Super Bowls. As far as I know, Bill Belichick's dad did not. And that's not to say, that Bill Belichick's bad, because he's an awesome head coach. I mean, everybody knows what he's done. It's just comparing it. They're two totally different situations. They're two totally different people. And I'm not going to be, one of these famed internet 49ers trolls who's going to capitulate and agree with Seattle Seahawks fans on maybe he didn't deserve the extension when he did, because he did a fantastic job last year. And, he before that, he did more than anybody thought he could with nothing. So he is a great young coach. He is a great young mind. And all he can do, instead of being the next Bill Belichick, is be the first Kyle Shanahan. And he's going to do that by continuing to win games, continuing to innovate his offense, continue to put the players in the best position they can be in to succeed. And, anything beyond that, I think is just people just talking.
I totally agree with you there. It's just purely speculation. And I don't think it's any shock that it comes out at this time of the year, off season. Everything's completely dead. There's no news going on in football for the most part. It's one of those think pieces that are kind of thrown out there to get people talking, get the clicks. And I don't want to necessarily call it clickbait, but I mean, essentially that's what it is. Yeah. So, I mean, although it's sort of a compliment towards Kyle Shanahan, it's just two completely different things that you're holding up. It's apples and oranges. I mean, you can't really compare the two. And Kyle Shanahan obviously is going to be a great coach. I don't think that's any, hot take to say. He's already accomplished a lot in his young career. I think he still has a lot of success ahead of him, but I just think that you should leave Bill Belichick in his own lane and Kyle Shanahan in their own lane, because like we've said repeatedly, they're two different coaches, two different coaching styles. And I think I really like what you touched on there in your first response, was that there are numerous stories of Belichick embarrassing players as high caliber of Tom Brady in front of the rest of the team and film review sessions, stuff like that. He'll call out the best player on your team, and they kind of make light of it and say, to let nobody's above getting Bill Belichick's wrath. But it's like, you're embarrassing a player, you're breaking them down, and there's really no need for that. And on the flip side, we see players constantly talking about how cool and collected Kyle Shanahan is and how much they enjoy coming. I mean, when Emmanuel Sanders came over, he was raving about how cool his head coach is. Hey, my head coach wears Yeezys, and although that's not his coaching style, but it's like, it just gives a little insight to the type of person Kyle Shanahan is. And I think that's the best thing you can be as a head coach, is being relatable, being approachable, being somebody that players feel comfortable going to you about and saying, hey, coach, maybe this on this, whatever the case may be. Whereas with Bill Belichick, we all know the slogan, the Patriot way. You got to do things Bill Belichick's way or get the hell out, which we recently saw with Tom Brady. So I just think that it's completely different. Kyle Shanahan's open to learning. He's more open-minded as a coach, whereas Bill Belichick's stuck in his ways. And it could be an age thing. Who knows when Kyle Shanahan's Bill Belichick's age, and if he's accumulated as much success as Belichick has, maybe he'll have that same mindset. Maybe he'll say my way or the highway. But for now, he's having success as a young head coach, and he seems like he's willing to adapt, and he's willing to hear his players out. And I just think that's the major difference between the two. But yeah, I mean, Matt, is there anything else you want to touch on here?
I mean, no, you hit the nail on the head. That's the difference between Bill Belichick being, pushing 70 and Kyle Shanahan just turning 40 years old. Kyle Shanahan's a lot closer to his players in age, that the relationship is, going to be a lot more affable, and they're going to be able to relate in a way that, especially in today in 2020's climate, is very important. Gone are the days where you have the head coach where it's just my way or the highway sort of thing. And that's what Bill Belichick still kind of adheres to. And frankly, that's the reason why Tom Brady left. Let's be honest. He got tired of Bill Belichick just demeaning him all the time. And if you can push away, probably by accomplishment, the best quarterback of all time, then, that doesn't, that's not the kind of coach you want. And yes, the success is great, but it always comes with a cost at the end. So for me, the fact that Shanahan is much more personable, much more relatable to his players, it bodes well for the long-term future of Kyle Shanahan.
Yep. Totally agree. Guys, that's going to be it for us today. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Our handles are below on the screen. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below.
And go ahead and click the bell for all your notifications. We're bringing you Niners news every day of the week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Go Niners.